What's going on, guys, and welcome back to F1 2021, my team, for round 12, the Italian Grand Prix. We start this video with our contract renewal for our teammate. We're going to renew Christian Lundgaard's contract. I think he's been doing a decent job. The first kind of negotiation gets declined because I try and say, well, we'll give you the same amount of money that you're on before. He declines that, so we end up going for the kind of lower risk option, and he ends up agreeing to that, but we're paying him a little bit more than we were before. Just looking at R&D, we're still kind of in that same sort of spot between Williams, Haas, and with Alfa Romeo and AlphaTauri up front. I believe AlphaTauri are now the next team above us because Alfa Romeo are moving their way up the grid a little bit. For some upgrades here, we've, not really anything's come through, I don't think. We had a failed engine upgrade, so we had to redo that. It was the internal combustion engine that blew up on us in the Netherlands last time out at Zandvoort, so we're going to have to eventually switch that out and get a new one, but we do have a third one to use at the moment. I also decided that I'm going to change my helmet for this race for the rest of the season. I don't want to be changing the car livery or my kind of team, colors, outfit, but I felt like the helmet's more of a personal thing, so I would change that. And as you saw there as well, I had to get a third energy store for this race, so we're going to be taking another 10 place grid penalty. I felt like that's not too bad on this track because Monza, it is quite a quick track, a lot of straights, a lot of places to overtake, so yeah, I thought this was one of the better tracks to take that chance. We go into qualifying, and it is a wet qualifying, not even just intermediate conditions, but it's wet weather tyre conditions. This is the first time in this career mode of ours that we've actually been on wet tyres. We've had a few wet races, but they've only ever been intermediate tyre races. So this is the first time we're ever on wet tyres, and I believe it's also the first time we've had rain in qualifying. So there's no rain forecast for the race. I think there is like a very small chance that there could be rain right at the end of the race, but it's looking like it's probably going to be fine throughout the whole race, so it's just a wet qualifying. So the setup I put on my car, it's just kind of a hot lap setup for dry, so we're going to be, we're kind of, we're not going to be great in qualifying here because we've got a dry setup, which for Monza doesn't have a whole lot of downforce on it. So it is a little bit tricky in these conditions in the wet, but I'm not really too bothered because, like I said, I think we can make up plenty of positions in the race, and we're having a 10 place grid penalty anyway, so I definitely think, sacrifice on quali a little bit and make it up in the race. We go across the line, I believe it was P19 when we crossed the line. Whether that is what we get at the end of the session, which it is actually, yeah, it is. It's P19, it's P21 for our teammate. Of course, though, we're going to have a grid penalty. So let's see how this race goes.
We're back in Italy once again for another round of the Formula One World Championship. And what a great race is in store for us today here at the oldest circuit on the calendar. Monza hosted its first race all the way back in 1922, with top speeds up to 215 miles per hour and an average lap speed of around 155 miles per hour. Monza's reputation as one of the fastest circuits in the sport is well earned. We have 11 corners on this 3.6 mile track, with the best overtaking chance coming into the heavy braking zone of the Turn 1 chicane. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Norris, Verstappen, Carlos Sainz, and Fernando Alonso. Ricciardo, they've taken a grid penalty. Perez, Gasly, and Esteban Ocon. Vettel, Stroll, Yuki Tsunoda, and Raikkonen. Giovinazzi, Mick Schumacher, Nikita Mazepin, and Charles Leclerc. Russell, Lundgaard, Shaw, and Nicholas Latifi. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head to trackside for today's race.
So we actually start one position up in 21st place because Nicholas Latifi would also have a grid penalty and start behind us, but it's 5 red lights and away we go for the Italian Grand Prix. It is a pretty good getaway from us as we go up the inside of Russell, but we have the other Williams of Latifi now on our inside and we are 3 wide going into turn 1. The Williams kind of squeeze us in, a little bit rude by them there, completely just squeeze us into the corner. We actually have a little bit of contact with Latifi, but I'm checking my heads-up display, it doesn't look like we have any damage as we keep it around the outside of Russell there, and we just about managed to get past Russell through the first corner. Latifi has made his way a fair way up the grid though, up into 18th place from that manoeuvre, gets his way ahead of my teammate and Charles Leclerc, who's starting down the back of the grid due to a grid penalty here as well. So he's going to be wanting to make his way up the grid for sure in that Ferrari. So now we're just kind of stuck behind our teammate. Lundgaard, he was behind us in qualifying, but then, you know, I think he only just started just in front of us, 1 place in front, due to our grid penalty. But yeah, see what he does here. He's looking pretty pacey at the moment. He's doing quite well. So yeah, we just got to see what's going on here. Leclerc has managed to get past Latifi up ahead, so that is good for him. He will definitely want to be doing that as yeah, the Ferrari much quicker than these cars around him. However, Latifi is now looking to get back around the outside of him, but he can't quite pull up alongside. However, Lundgaard, our teammate, goes up the inside of Latifi into the final corner. They're now side by side here, and I'm getting the slipstream off them, and it's now 3 wide going down the back straight. This time it is, instead of the 2 Williams squeezing me in, it's me and my teammate squeezing the Williams of Latifi, and a little bit of payback there. We go for a little bit of a dive on Leclerc into this corner. He jumps over the curb. We kind of come back smack into the front of him there, get another warning for a collision. We have the team engineer saying, you know, let's try not to be so dirty here, but I mean, that wasn't really my fault. Leclerc had to jump over the curves from where he was, and I just kind of got caught out and smacked into him. Once again though, doesn't seem to be any damage. Now my teammate Lundgaard is side by side with Leclerc. He just about manages to get the position, and Leclerc has a terrible run out of that corner. We get past him as well, so that's me and my teammate working together to make up another 1 or 2 positions there on Latifi and on Leclerc. So that's very good for us. As we look back here, I believe this is the replay of what was just happening there. As you can see, we're looking at Christian Lundgaard here actually. He gets up the inside of Latifi around the final corner and just has to hold it around here, but you can see me behind. I get a great run too. It is 3 wide. We're doing the same thing that the Williams did to us on the first lap right at the start, and we just have to kind of, well, there's not a whole lot of room. Leclerc's there. I kind of dive to the inside. Lundgaard is way on the inside there, actually driving over the gravel a little bit, but he gets a good run around the outside, can get his way up alongside Charles Leclerc, but he's on the inside. He's got it well, but they're still side by side coming around this whole part here, coming to the next chicane. It is very, very close between the Ferrari and the 2 cars of my team, and he gets Leclerc, and then we just get Leclerc out of that corner as well, as he has a pretty bad run out of the corner. Leclerc is then under fire from Latifi again. He got past him on the first lap, but now Latifi's coming back at Leclerc. Charles Leclerc really does not want to be fighting these cars right at the back of the grid because it's just costing him so much time, and you know, he's got the speed and the pace to probably be in the top 5 or top 6. Leclerc is still trying to get past Latifi here. Latifi out-braking him into that corner, but now that compromises his run down this back straight, and Leclerc can pull towards the outside. You've also got George Russell looking there in the background as well, and Leclerc, I believe, will just about get the position back on Latifi. Latifi won't be able to quite do anything onto the front straight. This is also end of lap 2 for us here, as we are catching up to Christian Lundgaard, our teammate up ahead, getting a good run and going to the inside there. Once again, he's not putting up too much of a fight, but he's definitely not just letting us go here. He's, you know, he doesn't want to necessarily give up that position, as we take quite a tight line and get a little bit caught up over the curb, a little bit sideways, but we just about get the position on our teammate, and we can go up ahead and try and catch the cars in front. Looking at the start of the race here again, from Lando Norris's point of view, starts in 3rd place, gets a very good run into turn 1 here, is on the outside of Lewis Hamilton, and he's actually having a little look at Valtteri Bottas. He's around the outside, he's actually in 1st place briefly here. He's fighting for the lead, Lando Norris. It'll be awesome to see him lead this race and win this race, but unfortunately, he just can't quite do anything with Bottas at the moment. However, he's right there behind him. I'm sure he's going to put up a good fight. Onto lap 3 here, and we have yellow flags up ahead. Don't really know what's gone on here. Like I see on the minimap, there's a car on the left. That's Yuki Tsunoda. He's gone off the track. Don't know what's happened there. We'll have a little look at a replay right now. We'll see he comes around this corner here, just a bit too much power, and he just spins it around. It's the same sort of mistake we saw from Lance Stroll in Austria. We also saw it from Sergio Perez in Bahrain. They just put the power down a bit too eagerly around some corners. Spins him out. No damage for him, thankfully, but he is now a little bit down the road. As we go on to lap 4, we've got a safety car. Lando Norris is out of the session. He was up in 2nd place, fighting for 1st place. He is now out of the session, though. What has happened is we look in front of us. I'm not really paying attention. There's a massive amount of cars just sat just on the outside going into turn 1. And now I've got to let them all pass because there's a bloody safety car, and I've overtaken them illegally. A few cars go past, which I don't think should have. Like, my teammate is now in front of me. He really shouldn't have been, but it's all a bit of a mess there. But we'll have a little look at what happened here with Lando Norris. Was it just a mechanical failure, or was there a crash? And we see here, going down the front straight, he gets a good run on Bottas. He goes for an overtake, twitches a bit too much, and goes straight into the wall. And unfortunately, that is Lando Norris out. We then see Carlos Sainz smack into the back of Norris around here. That actually doesn't put him out of the race, but it's definitely not a good one for Sainz there either. We just see here, he goes for a little bit of a fake left-right and just twitches a bit too much, spins into the wall, and then Leclerc comes and smacks to the back of him. And we'll also see here, Max Verstappen, one of the Red Bulls, he also smacks into him as well. As we look on from Leclerc's point of view here, he follows, I think that's Ricciardo there, smacks into the back of him, and his camera actually gets cut off, which is a bit weird because he doesn't actually DNF from the race, but just cuts off at that point. We see Max Verstappen here racing with, I believe it is Fernando Alonso. And he comes down here, he's got his teammate Perez on the inside. He just can't quite slow down enough. It goes into Norris. He's still in the race, thankfully, but he's now lost his front wing. So Max Verstappen will need to come in to change his front wing, and that's going to send him down the back of the order. On the race restart, we have a little bit of a bump into Mazepin there. There's quite a lot of bumps in this race, I will be honest. I was getting a little bit impatient, but we are up the back of Mazepin going towards the inside for turn 1. We outbrake him massively. Gasly kind of catches us off guard there, though. We get a great run down on Mazepin, but Gasly's just slows down a bit too early, and that lets Mazepin stick it around the outside, and he now has the position back on us. That would have been a good overtake for us, but unfortunately Gasly in front kind of screwed us over a little bit there, as now there's 2 cars behind. Russell and Ocon having a battle as well, and we've just kind of got to watch and wait to get past Mazepin once again. We go on to lap 7, and Ocon is now behind us. He's trying to make the overtake. He's got ERS going and slipstream down here. He's on the outside. He's going to try and hang it around the outside, but we're just going to squeeze him out through the final corner. Keep this position. It's a little bit scary though, because now going down the front straight, he will have DRS and we'll have the slipstream and everything. We've also got, well, I don't think we've got DRS actually. Oh, we probably don't have DRS because of the safety car. But we're now we're going a little bit defensive with Ocon and can't quite catch up to Mazepin. We then have another DNF. Lewis Hamilton retires from the race. He's out of the session. This is the first retirement for Lewis Hamilton, the defending world champion, and he's got a mechanical failure. It's the first mechanical failure we've seen for the Mercedes team as a whole, so that's going to ruin his chances of the championship even more and potentially give Bottas an even bigger lead. On to lap 8 here, and Ocon is once again having a go at us. He is round the outside, the same part he was last time. A little bit of a lockup from him, but he actually keeps it a bit more on the outside this time, but once again we can just squeeze him out, keep that position. He is quite a bit closer this time, however, coming down the straight here. DRS is only enabled this lap, so he doesn't have it, but he's got the slipstream. He's deploying ERS. He's around on the outside for the next corner. We're kind kind of catching up to Mazepin in front, but we're going to just try and keep it. He's still there up the inside, going over the curb a little bit, but that compromises his run, and we just about managed to keep defending from Ocon to keep our 12th place. Same thing again going on here, however, once again into turn 1, Ocon on the outside, Mazepin kind of defending a bit on the inside. We managed to keep Ocon at bay once again, but this would be a battle that would go on for quite a few laps here. Once again, same lap 10 this time, going down this final back straight. We get it a bit wrong out of that corner, not a great line through there. Ocon decides to go to the inside this time. This could be a better move for the French driver. Of course, in real life, he won the Hungarian Grand Prix. It was pretty recently when I'm recording this, but probably a little while ago when I upload it, but he is still there. He's just about got the position on me. However, now I do have the slipstream behind him. I think he's got DRS though. We've also got Sergio Perez on the inside though. He's coming back through the field from a pit stop earlier, and he dives up the inside of me and Ocon, manages to go round the outside of Ocon, and he's got 2 positions in one corner. That's a great move from Sergio Perez there. We have unfortunately lost out from Ocon as well. However, this lap we are now going to come into the pits, go on to our one and only pit stop. We're going to be changing onto, I believe, the medium tyres from the softs. We've got Mazepin up ahead of us, lost a bit of ground to him with the fight with Ocon, but we're now right behind him as there's many cars in the pits, Ferraris all over the place, another car behind there as well as we see an AlphaTauri go past. We're onto the medium tyres, we're going to come out just behind Mazepin there, not really lost or gained any time in that pit stop, and now he's the one that we've got to race. We've got Stroll behind us in the pit, coming out of the pits as well, but he's a little way off at the moment. It's really Mazepin we're racing with. As we get the DRS on him, we get very, very, very close to a big accident, a similar accident to what Lando Norris did. As yeah, we had the DRS there, the closing speed was crazy. We also had some cars coming out of the pit lane which were a bit distracting, and I just jerked a bit too far to the right, and yeah, had a bit of a scary moment. We now move up on Gasly, trying to get past him. There's a little bit of contact there. I think we'll have a message come up for once again another collision, but he was just so slow. I think I had a message earlier on, a radio message, saying that Gasly has a bit of a problem, so he was quite slow there, a bit slower than I was expecting. We then have Lance Stroll coming at us on to lap 16. I'm not really going to fight Stroll. He's in a much quicker car, the Aston Martin. And yeah, I'm not really going to fight him too much. We are trying to catch up to, well, probably our teammate actually up ahead. I think he's up ahead at the moment, just quite a bit up ahead, but he's really the one that we're trying to catch here, and as we see here, yep, there he is. However, we've got yellow flags up ahead. Is this another crash? What's going on? We haven't had a DNF pop up on the screen. Yellow flags from here. We can see a pretty slow green dot on the left there, and sure enough, it's Sebastian Vettel. He's still going, but he's got some kind of issue here, so we're going to have a look at a replay, see what's going on with Sebastian Vettel, as he's got Charles Leclerc behind him. He's up in 4th place here, but a little bit of a weird thing there, and look at that, he has got a flat tyre, the rear right. He's got a puncture. I think this is the first puncture I've seen in this game, but Sebastian Vettel, he's obviously, I don't know if he's just driven over some debris, or if he's just, you know, I don't know, like used those tyres for a bit too long, maybe. 17 laps on the mediums, I don't know how long they really should last, but he's got a puncture. He's not out of the race, but he's going to have to come in for another pit stop and probably lose a lot of time. On to lap 19 here, and we've got Lundgaard and Stroll up ahead of us. A little bit awkward here. Stroll's trying to get past Lundgaard. I'm trying to get past Stroll, and it's just a bit crazy. And we've now got Tsunoda behind us. He's made his way through the field again after that spin on lap 3, I believe it was. And now once again, Lundgaard and Stroll up ahead. Stroll is trying to get past Lundgaard. He's just about got him going into turn 1 there. And we're not going to make a big dive here. It's not really worth it. We're a bit too far back. Stroll's got the position on Lundgaard. Lundgaard was up into 11th place there, which is crazy. To be fair, he wouldn't have been that far up ahead if he didn't kind of cheat under the safety car by you know, going past us when he shouldn't have. Bit of a fight further up the grid, and we've got Sergio Perez making a move on Charles Leclerc for 4th place. Leclerc doing a great job, might I say, because I mean, if you remember at the start of the race, he was way down the back of the field. I think he started P19, was getting caught up with Latifi for ages. Well, he's now back up at the sharp end in 5th place right now, battling Sergio Perez for 4th, and coming round onto the next lap, he manages to keep behind Perez, doesn't let him get away too much. He's now going to have the DRS and the slipstream down the front straight, and this time it's going to be Leclerc going for the overtake on Perez at the same place that Perez got past Leclerc. He's to the outside this time, and he just about manages to get past Perez for turn 1. So there's a great battle going on here between the Red Bull and the Ferrari for 4th place. Definitely keep an eye on that one. And then as we go further back here to us, lap number 20, once again we've got this time Tsunoda going around the outside of us. He's caught right up to the back of us, showing some great pace here. That AlphaTauri is not as quick as the Alfa Romeos now, I don't think, but it's definitely a decent step above us. He manages to get past over. I kind of let him through here because I thought if I let him pass there, I can then get the DRS and then get past him on the front straight, and sure enough, that's what we're going to try and do. Go to the right, switch back to the left. We're going to try and outbrake him into turn 1. Bit close to our teammate up ahead there, but we just about managed to get the position on Tsunoda, and we've got to try and now keep him at bay once again. This same lap 21, and once again it's the same sort of story again. Tsunoda once again going for the outside. This part of the track has just been absolute chaos for me throughout this race. We kind of, I don't know, I think he locked up a little bit there. We perhaps ran a little bit wide into him, but we didn't touch him, so I think that's fair enough. And then going down the front straight once again, this time I'm just deploying all the ERS I can. He's got DRS though, and he does manage to catch me. He kind of fakes to the right, to the left like we did earlier. He tries to keep it around the outside, but he can't quite do it. We're a little bit over the curb, but it's not a problem. We once again still keep the position from Tsunoda, and I believe it is now the end of this lap once again. At this point, this was happening every single lap. Tsunoda goes past once again. We're going to do the same thing. We're not really going to fight him too much. We're going to let him go. We're going to try and get the DRS down the front straight and get back past him again. So perhaps lost a little bit more time this time. Not getting a great run off that final corner. But we're going to go, and we've got the DRS. We're going to go for him. And there we go to the inside. And once again, we've got the position. I think this is the 3rd lap now that we've done this. There's only like, what, 4 laps left of the race. We're just going to try and keep him behind here, as once again, lap 23, same thing happens again. Let him pass on the left, get the slipstream, get the DRS, and try and get past him into turn 1. We're keeping with him around this corner, but then he gets a really good run out of the final corner, and I think we're a little bit further back here, and he might also have DRS. I believe he does now have DRS on Lundgaard up ahead, and this time, unfortunately, my plan doesn't quite work, as we can't get close enough because he's got the DRS on Lundgaard ahead of him. We don't have the closing speed that we did before, and unfortunately we now kind of start to lose Tsunoda a little bit as our plan hasn't worked. We're down into P13. He's now going to go ahead and try and overtake my teammate for P12 or P11, sorry, I believe that would be. As he goes for the overtake around the outside of Lundgaard, gets the position done, defends to the inside for turn 1. Tsunoda's got the position on my teammate. Now we are behind my teammate, and there is only 2 laps of the race left to go. Lap 27 here, we're on the final lap of the race. We've got a bit of a margin to our teammate in front, and he's still going to have DRS on Tsunoda. Valtteri Bottas wins the Italian Grand Prix. I mean, what can I even say? He's just winning every race. It's getting a bit ridiculous by this point, to be completely honest. But unfortunately, we can't quite get our teammate, and I think our teammate beats us for the first time on track this season. So it's a great result from Christian Lundgaard there, P12, P13 for us. So disappointing. We were right on the edge of points throughout this whole race. We can't quite get points in the end. Charles Leclerc gets driver of the day, very well deserved there. But I'll tell you what, this was definitely a fun race.
The Mercedes team pulled out a fantastic performance today. They should be proud. What do you think it was, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition today?
Well, the safety car completely changed the race, didn't it? It's hard to say exactly what would have happened without it, but there's no question that they came out of that situation in a good position.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot. A well-earned victory for Mercedes.
So once again, victory for Valtteri Bottas, no change there in this season. We've got Daniel Ricciardo 2nd place. I believe that's the first podium for him and McLaren this season. And Fernando Alonso, 3rd place. He's on the podium for the 2nd time this season in an Alpine. Alonso is capitalising on these issues with the further ahead teams so much. He's got 2 podiums this season so far. That's crazy from Alonso. We are down in 12th and 13th. Like I said, my teammate beats me for I believe the first time on track. He's beaten us before, but only when we've DNF'd, so might be wrong with that, but it's a pretty good result from us, I will say. A little bit disappointing that we're just off the points there. And then looking at the driver standings, not a whole lot of differences. Charles Leclerc moves ahead of Lando Norris. Fernando Alonso moves up to 9th as well, ahead of Pierre Gasly and Carlos Sainz. So he's doing a stellar job in that Alpine. It's not a car that is really that high up the grid, but he's definitely outperforming the car and his teammate, who's in P13 now. I think he does pick up a couple of points in this race. And Lundgaard moves down to 19th now as Antonio Giovinazzi scores his first 2 points of the season. Also, Kimi Raikkonen ended up 6th place in that race, so it's a great result from Alfa Romeo. That puts them up into 9th in the Constructors. They're now very close to us, 12 points to 19, so we've really got to watch out for Alfa Romeo. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.